Okay, good morning, guys. Had a question come up this morning regarding an agent who had a buyer sign a buyer broker agreement, so the BRBC. And the question came up that they have a team member that they want to have the team member handle the buyer rather than the person that had the buyer broker agreement signed. So you have a buyer broker agreement signed with a buyer and a real estate agent, and as long as it is within the same firm, Coldwell Banker, then you don't have to cancel the buyer broker agreement and generate a new one. There's a couple ways to handle it, and the easiest way to handle it is if you go to the buyer broker agreement and you go to the bottom of the page, you will notice that under the signature for the broker, so you have the real estate broker, CBSR Inc., address and whatnot, and you have two spots for broker agent. So this could be the first agent. So let's say it would be Steve Keefe, and I'm going to assign, or I'm going to have another buyer agent work within the office. Then you could add that person to this part of the form, and you then would have the client initial it if it's done after the fact. Otherwise, it would be done from the beginning, basically just outlining that this is the direction it's going to go. But if it's done after the fact, then I would probably have the other agent complete the information, sign it, and then have the buyer initial it so that they understand and they acknowledge that they are going to have this other agent handling the transaction. So at that point, both agents are on the buyer broker agreement and part of the transaction. The other thing that you probably should do is when you get into a transaction, you would re-sign an AD with that second agent if that agent is the one writing the offer. So I would recommend that you update that so you have an AD from both agents in the file as well. There's also a box that you could check if you don't want to have them sign on the, where was I? Let me go back to it, page 5 of 5. Here we go. If you go back to it, then you also have this checkbox, which you can introduce the AAAA form. So that could be adding another agent as well. So those are kind of the two ways to handle that. One thing that I would be concerned with is that on the PSRA, in that particular case, the PSRA, let me go back to that, does not have the same PSRA does not have the same double lines on this. And so what I'd recommend that you do under that scenario, if you're going to add another agent to the transaction, then you would use the MTBR. So you would modify the PSRA with a MTBR, which is a modification of buyer representation agreement, to add that second agent's information to the buyer broker agreement. Hopefully that's clear to you. If you have any questions or concerns, then just reach out to me. Have a great one.